Oi oi, welcome to Bigfoot Scrimcast alongside Highland Wolf for the Penetrate FPP Clan Wars League. How's it going there, buddy? Hey there, I'm great, how are you? On here, Highland Wolf. Are you with us? No, that's the first time he's never said, I'm with you. Oh well. Gone. Now he's hung up on me. Highland, where you gone? Alright, let's go. Look, nice generous flight path. Good access to all the good spots in Miramar. I want to see the El Pozo fight for sure. Teams we got 18 teams tonight. Looking pretty good. Nice, just above the 16. Nice, 16's the minimum really you want, but I like it a little bit higher and not necessarily above 22, 20. Anyway, let's have a look. There's quite a lot of teams jumping out this flight path pretty early. Highland Wolf, just shout when you're with us anytime. Just interrupt and say you're with us when you are, if you can hear me. Couldn't hear your mic before. Anyway, so yeah, it does look like a lot of people jumping in that first 10% of the flight path. So we'll have Dream Team Spoidy, that's a Penetrate squad. Top player there. Dropping with Z Paradox alongside Elf into El Pozo. Got a little text message there from Highland. See what happens there. Is Ruins drop, eh? Now that is a little bit different. Getting a double Ruins drop. So although we do have, you know, like El Pozo fight possibly. Let's see this Ruins drop. This is a new part of the map since Miramar 2. Called the Ruins because all the way over there's a token little bit of Ruins. Probably just copied from Irangle, I don't know. I can just hear Highland's Wolf breath breathing now. I can hear the oxygen going into his lungs. Soon it will be coming out in the narration.
Can you hear
form.
me?
Alright, mate, how's it going?
Is it working? Discord's really broken for me right now. It's like saying I'm still muted.
My heart was broken when I couldn't hear your voice there, buddy. How's it going?
I don't know what's going on with Discord right now. It still says I'm muted. Oh no, there we go. So it's catched up now. I'm apparently talking.
Louder than normal though. Turn you down 4%, 6%.
I'm not sure if my PUBG is working or not though. Oh no, match server response timed out. Uh-oh.
As you were loading in, yeah?
Yep.
Hey, man. Do you want me to screen share?
Yeah, that would be brilliant, man. Let's go. Technical difficulties. Start us off here.
Sure, man. We're putting this together in this nightmare of technology completely not working yet taking over the world at the same time.
Totally believed you there, man. Let's have a look at where we're starting off here. We've got the teams in. We got ourselves ready for another action of 3 games here, man. Starting off on the Miramar map, and it looks like we've got actually the sides of does look like DDUK and Silent Mercenaries here.
Yeah, so I thought we'd jump over to Ruins because it's not often you get this Ruins fight early on, but it's almost like El Pozo right now. They're kind of just, oh sorry, not El Pozo, Hainan in Sanhok. They're kind of just looting up on either side of this road as if it's the Hainan River, and no one's really doing anything across it yet. So I kind of wait this one out, but I did want to see how this would play out because it's a new part of the map, and we haven't really focused on a drop here. There's a couple of fights that are potential to be going on in El Pozo right now. There's 3 teams there. Good jump, they're right on top of each other actually. They're doing more than they are here. We might have to jump over to that. I'll leave the small screen there. I'll move the small screen up to.
I do believe it. My phone has logged me out of my account.
Which one?
My PUBG. Brilliant. Anyways, enough of me and my stupid issues here. Moving it every time. I swear, there's always something new. We do have the side of pen gunners here. Down in this map for the first game, and it looks like they're being aggressed, Bigfoot, by the side of the elves. Another squad here that's new, and we have a lot of different squads tonight coming in that we've not seen previously. So we're going to be interesting to see how this shakes up the point in the score system at the end of tonight.
Only about 1 week in right now, and there's a lot of scope on the leaderboard if you're going to come in and dominate like some teams do. Menace is sending some support here, though. Oh, there goes Menace down, unfortunately, to Psycho. But yeah, do remember there is another squad here as well. So this is actually currently 10 clashing with elves. But Z Paradox can run over here at any moment as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the side of the Game Over squad here can try revive Menace here, because they do have one member down and they do have one member knocked, so only down to half their power against the full squad here at the side of the Elves. And the Elves really putting on a clinic in this first game, taking down one of our best teams in tonight's games, and could be game over out in this first match if they can't revive these members. They're trying to find one knock. They do manage to take down Belly successfully, but here comes the side of Psycho and Gusu here, and then moving in to try to take them down, but Con finds another knock. And can they find a third? We're just going to have to wait and see. But they do manage to find a third, but trade one for one. Now it's a 1 versus 1 for the side of Cons here. Can Cons do it? Cons does manage it. And the side of the Elves barely not able to eliminate Game Over from this first game.
Go on, Pen. Nice start, but Zed Paradox might be pushing in for the third party any moment now. You do know when you hear a gunfight like that and it suddenly stops that one team has got the wipe, and it is the time to push in, and looks like Ant-Man is thinking exactly what I just said, already scoping in on Penetrate's location right now. The revives are coming in, and Penetrate regroup before Zed Paradox are on their doorstep.
The side of Zed Paradox is going to be interesting. Another team that we saw last week, and we're going to have to see how they perform this week. They didn't have the greatest of games in last week's matches, so they really are going to be looking to boost their point score, boost their point score in this leaderboard here for this league at the end of this second week, because they don't want to fall behind on the second week, because that's going to make it so much harder for this Zed Paradox team to move up in the leaderboard and claim one of those top 5, top 3, or even first spot finish at the end of the league.
And we will dig out the results for you, also playing some halftime clips, I guess. So I just checked on the map there, and we did land at Ruins, and it turns out that Miss Venus and co have managed to just get away from Ruins. Not really going to take that engagement there, so good thing we didn't hang around there with the big screen too long. And we did catch that awesome play between Penetrate. Ant-Man has been spotted, but gets the knock on Menace.
That's going to be vital for the side of Zed Paradox, as they have Zish initially rotating in here on the flank side, trying to find a knock onto the side of Pen and try take them down here. We still have 17 teams left. A lot of teams still alive, and almost all of them in this first game. Neither of these teams going to want to give it up, and it does look like another knock has gone down for the side of Game Over here, and Game Over back down to one member. Can they find it? No, they're not going to be able to. They cannot find a second squad wipe, and Zed Paradox with a third party secure himself those 4 kills.
You know, I think about 8 times out of 10, a third party team wins a triple drop. This is just such a hard time, man. You get that beautiful clutch play between 2 teams, you come out on top, and then the third team there come rushing in and just wipe you off the drop zone with a total of 8 loot boxes on the floor to choose through. The rest of the loot that hasn't been picked up in the entire drop zone. So I just think you can control it so you're the third party in a triple drop. Try and do that, because 8 times out of 10 they come out on top.
I definitely agree with you here. They're just going to be full of loot and full of what they need in this first game. They're going to have all the equipment, and the only thing they really need to look for now for the side of Zed Paradox is those airdrops, looking for the best equipment that you can get out of Miramar from those airdrops. And it's going to be interesting to also see this fight that we see breaking out here, perhaps a long-range fight beside Gods, the Grease Tartarus, and also the side of Ketamingos here. Ketamingos, one of these new teams here, they're going to be looking to take out one of the top once again on the side of Gods of Grease Tartarus. Gods of Grease Tartarus, one of these teams who have been finishing top 3 numerous times in the last league, so it'll be interesting to see their placement in this week's games.
Incognito Blue did just sort of drive past RPG. They sort of passed in Val del Mar, but nothing really happened there. It does look like RPG have got themselves a little bit further north there. OG's team for RPG. There was a triple drop in Los Leones too. It was like Ketamingos, Army Null and co. Army Null used to be in AMZ Animals, kind of bit of a free agent for a little while, and settling down into this Ketamingos team. Gods of Grease also landed in Hearts, but then a distance for now. This north west side, as all these teams start pushing in, is going to get a little bit busy. Maybe like the road from Monte Nuevo could be a good choke point, but no one's going to really be there to take it. That road does continue all the way into the middle of Los Leones, so some teams might opt to just go straight to middle of zone instead of edging it. It is Miramar after all, and if you just get there in the middle, there's a lot less rotations to do later in the game.
I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see these new teams. As we say previously, we've got about half of these teams in the game right now for their first week. Half of them, or just a little bit more than half, about 60% of these teams coming in from last week. And I want to talk about the results from the last league while we have this fight wait to break out here. And we actually had the most wins in the last league go to SAS, of course, with a dominant victory in that first league, securing themselves 4 first place finishes and a third place finish across 5 different weeks, only appearing outside of the scoreboard twice in the top 3. And another team that's going to be really interesting to look at is actually the side of Fallen Angels. Fallen Angels looks like I could see a knock there, but Kratos not going to be able to find it. Another team, however, that did really well was the side of Fallen Angels, appearing on that leaderboard 4 different times themselves as well, with 3 first place finishes in that first league. So no surprise that we saw Fallen Angels appear on that first place position last week and SAS below them. Another top team that SAS are going to have to go with, and perhaps a team that we didn't really appreciate that much going into last week.
Digging up some of the results here, so if there's a quiet moment I kind of shift them on, but it's not quite a quiet moment on when I'm watching Gods of Greece right now, so it does look like they've started that long-range fight between themselves and Ketamingos, and more teams are pushing towards Los Leones. They're becoming quite close, and like we said, out of the northwest, everyone's moving down. Zed Paradox in their cars, pushing through Monte Nuevo, where SAS, our last season's leaders, are hanging about right now, not in a vehicle just yet.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these teams rotate down to this south eastern side circle shift. Is this new area around Miramar on the southeast side of the map that we see teams starting to drop more and more, and teams with the likes of the side of SAS are going to have a lot of work to do getting inside of his zone. Here comes Zed Paradox as well. Potentially, if they do get spotted out, Zed Paradox might just go for a couple more kills.
Yeah, I did think this had the potential to be interesting, but what's strange is seeing Zed Paradox pull up. Maybe they've run out of petrol even. Does look like it's a gas problem. They just maybe switched the vehicle out and actually pulling off a different way, but that is putting it close to SAS right now, and that could have been a bit of an explosion there, missing each other by about 50 meters or so. Danny may have even heard the engines, but won't be able to do anything about it as Zed Paradox managed to push the zone. SAS really want to be getting inside a vehicle soon. As we see, the zone has shifted from being quite north and central on Los Leones. It's kind of gone southwest now, leaving Los Leones in the northeast corner. And looking at the teams rotating right now, we do have Silent Mercenaries maybe passing up to the location of Incognito or RPG.
It's going to be interesting to see how SCS move through this zone and into out of the blue zone and into the play zone, because they've got a number of teams here starting off with the side of DDUK there straight ahead of them. They're going to have to move in, have a little bit of an area on that northwestern side that they can choose to take advantage of. But just south of that, you've also got the side of RPG the OGs, another team that has consistently played in the last couple of weeks. And we also have to keep an eye out on all these teams moving into the center, because as this zone shifts and it becomes smaller, that northwestern side of the map might not become too safe if it does shift the play zone northwest itself. Keep an eye on the rotations of these teams. We have a cluster here though, Bigfoot, on this northern side. We've got a bunch of teams there that we're going to have to keep an eye out as they do circle ever closer. We do have the side of DSN here. FPP bots, they're moving in, rotating very close to the end zone.
BSN, of course, a TPP team, very rarely playing FPP, so it's good they're stepping outside of their comfort zone. We'll see how they can go tonight. Everything else they do is definitely be some pretty impressive stuff for them in that regards. Winning some quite top scrims as well, coming first in one me and Wolfcast the other day, actually, where one of the teams were driving around in a PRDM, aggressing everyone, even though they weren't allowed to have shot the flare in the first place, but they did get disqualified.
Yeah, that will teach him. That will teach him not to run the side of people over. And we do actually see Apex bots losing one member, and they're only a trio squad here, and they're gonna be in trouble if they lose one more member, because it's not like they have 4 people in their team. They've only got 3. 2 knocks will leave them very, very vulnerable. Even just 1 knock, leaving them vulnerable down to about half the firepower of the side. Oh, the Vision squad here is in move in closer. We saw the long range, now coming into the close range, and see one behind him, and just the side of the entire side of David surrounded here. They're going to lose completely down to the side of Vision. Just outnumbered there. They do have the 1 knock, but it's not going to matter, as we say, on the side of Vape Xbox, out of the game in a very bad position on Miramar.
That was beautiful, eh? So I was a little bit concerned there where Scobes was like hiding behind a rock. I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely the sort of situation that's uncomfortable for a TPP player. You know, hiding behind just 1 barrel of hay. Definitely, like, you know, you don't really know what's. Look, this is where they were.
It's a much different perspective when you're in first person, because you don't have the ability just to shoot over or like see over. Sorry, should I say the hay bale there? So
that or that, yeah. So it's that can put players off a little bit if they're mostly TPP, but they handled it fine. He just ran in, and that's kind of what FPP is about, is running in. Scobes, sorry, yeah, was it Scobes? No, it was V-Man, sorry. Did get taken down on the run in, but it provided perfect distraction for Widow, who's up on that roof there and just finished the last 2 players off. Really good stuff there.
yeah, I like exactly how he split up there, not allowing the side of Vape to even be able to rotate round as a duo to try take out a couple of the members of Vision. They just completely surrounded them from 3 different sides here. We've got another fight, though, breaking out here between the side of Team Incognito Blue as well as the side of Silent Mercenaries. Silent Mercenaries, the aggressors into this compound in this fight. They have lost Venus here. Venus not going to be happy about that, one of our fellow Trovo PUBG streamers. Going to have to rely on their teammates here, as she'll be eliminated out of this game, and only 3 of the side of Silent Mercenaries remaining.
Fluffy does go down there, unfortunately. That was some long shots, bit of a long-range fight, so there is some time to get these revs in. Blondie does get taken back down, though, before they manage to get a med kit in. Shots from Miss Queen, and that will be the end of the squad, as Incognito long-range wipe out Silent Mercenaries.
Yeah, and that's just exactly what you'd expect to do from the compound. Unfortunately, they didn't have the smokes, they didn't have the items or the cover they needed in that engagement for the side of the Mercenaries to engage on top of Incognito. Venus, unfortunately, being caught out at the start of that engagement was not ideal, of course, going down to 3 members. We see actually on that map, SAS rotated into the zone as well as ZPX. They've actually swapped positions here. SAS down south towards ZPX as they are north of them. In this north side of Los Leonas, though, we see 3 different teams here closing in on each other.
Yeah, and we've also seen the zone shift centrally southern now, which is we very rarely see the bridge inside the zone in Miramar. I mean, it's not that likely that it's going to close in around the bridge, but definitely possible. It would be beautiful to see for a unique end zone here. But we do see quite a few teams still out north of this zone as it shifts south, but you can see the movement on their map. They're all aware that it's crucial now to get to the right position, so every team is on the move right now. We'll see who crosses into who, but it does look like Lucifer, that's just Lucifer trialing out for VSN Vision Gaming here. It looks like they might be planning to pin this edge here, and it might not be a bad choice overall, because there is actually at most teams coming in a zone from northwest.
Yeah, we do actually see the side of Vision closing in on this hill, and very aggressive from the side of Vision here. They're racing these teams into the zone, and that's what you'd sort of expect here from these teams with the vehicles advantage here. They're able to rush into these compounds, take them over, and secure themselves these buildings that are going to be vital. As that play zone, as we see, is going to be restricting in under a minute now, going into that phase 4 zone. And when we start to get to that phase 4, phase 5 zone, Bigfoot, that's when you start to really see the zone put the pressure on these teams teams no longer choosing to stay inside the blue zone. But phase 3, phase 4, we're going to expect to see these teams try fight for position, just kind of wait it out, see how the zone moves in this first game, and it try to engage on any teams that try to take down the compounds that we're sitting in.
Does look like most compounds do possess a team, though. Airdrop's empty, that one there, but we do actually have lightning striking twice in the same place with an MK14 in the other airdrop that's landed next to this previous location. But as you can see, RPG I Snipe You Cry, who I was actually just having a game with the other day. What's up there, buddy? Just managed to get the knock on them as they pulled up on their airdrop. Maybe going to make the push straight in now. Level 1 need to get this rev in and get defensive. I Snipe You Cry, pull Baz from RPG, rushing up the hill. Obtrix gets hit again, so it doesn't look like they're going to get away with this rev here being pushed in from either side. Yeah, and it's almost over.
I think they should have just left that rev, because now they could go down themselves. Most likely going to Cry going down to about 2/3 health. It's not going to matter. They do manage to crack kill, but behind them here we see the side of Vision. And Vision could just pull up on the side of Paul Baz and Cry and actually eliminate from this game if they go a little bit more further south into this zone. To the east side of them, though, we do have Animals Lions, and another one of these returning teams that are going to want to be taking that top spot. Gonna have to keep an eye out on all of these teams in this game inside the zone and look at the south end of the map right now, because that's where teams are going to be compiling up against each other as they expect this zone and predict this zone to move further south as it already has done.
Yeah, and it does look like quite a lot of teams have made it through. We're on 12 teams still. Here is the other Penetrate team. I think this might be Misfits. And we had an excellent clutch from Vish last week. We also had a bit of leaning as well.
Oh, the leaning.
Might be able to play that in half time there. The shoulder lean.
Oh, the shoulder lean.
Right now we do have the Misfits, and they are pushing up against Team 4, which they would maybe new for me. Oh no, so RAF Blue. Just a bunch of names I didn't know.
They are actually in the blue color this week, which is an improvement from the purple that we saw them in last week. Up against the purple squad here, though, as they are up against the side of Gunners. Gunners, this other Pen squadron right now, and looks like almost one of the RAF members going down there. Afali there, almost taking that first knock of that fight.
Here we have it, the rotation starting to cross each other's paths. Gods of Greece look like they've just smashed out half of Lionhearts, and they're going to face these knocks in just 1 second. There goes Duck. And there goes S02, but the shot's coming back from Incognito Blue already. So that means Incognito Blue now fighting a 3-way long-range battle between Pen and Gog. This is a triangle of destruction right now, but who's in zone? Does look like it's Lionhearts ahead of everyone. Pen are now making that rotation in vehicles. They've actually pulled off from that situation, just trying to get into zone and going to hug the coastline, looking like it is still including in the bridge in this zone. Look at that. It popped in from that where that blue border is to where this white one is right now, still with a little bit of bridging. And SAS look like they're trying to hold that down, but on the east and northern side here, we do have 3 teams about to crash into each other.
It's going to be really interesting here. We're going to lose 2 teams very, very shortly between the side of RAF, between the sides of Guards and between the side of Gunners here. This 3-way fight going to go on, and it does look like a little bit of high ground advantage for the side of RAF here. Engaging down, and there goes almost 1 knock from the side of Bali. Trying to find that finish onto the side of Gods of Greece here, but now moving back. They're trying to reposition here, aware of the fact that also now we have Team Incognito Blue running closer and ever closer down inside of our play zone. Afali holding up in that compound, but solo and could be picked off. Does get picked off by the side of Atlas on Gods of Greece here, but now comes the support from the side of their teammates here, and we're perhaps going to try smoke this up, try get back to Afali before they're knocked down. Gods of Greece also going to try finish off these knocks is to have the rotations towards their teammate, trying to use Afali as a bait here to catch out more players.
Lionheart's still close by, but it looks like they're playing the patient game. They're not trying to push into this. They could probably sneak up and do a lot of damage right now if they wanted to, but they're just trying to be more patient than that.
God Gods of Greece have that angle down potentially on the side of Lionheart, as well as one of these members of RAF Blue split. And RAF Blue split 3 different ways right now in this fight as this zone closes in. They could lose this other member, this lone wolf here, as we could call them here for the side of RAF Blue, in that shed there on the compound. And it looks like Gods of Greece also struggling in this blue zone. It looks like the tables have turned though here, Bigfoot, as RAF Blue take advantage of this blue zone, now affecting the sides of Gods of Greece.
Yeah, even Atlas is about to bleed out right now. Does get knocked by the blue zone again. Perseus now just trying to run away. Will Perseus make it out? Perseus is on about 15 health right now. I think Perseus has got away wow, but there is plenty more squads to drive past. Let's see if he can make it. And that's it. I was thinking that's it. I think... Yep. Yeah, I think that's Gods of Greece out. I couldn't quite catch that, but there was Incognito Cheetah in the kill feed there, finishing off Perseus, who was trying to escape from this nightmare over here. Didn't quite make it. Vicious gone down as well.
Let's have a look at this right now as we see the side of Gunners in trouble here. One of these 2 pen squads tonight, as we do say so, moving perhaps straight into the side of RPG, the OGs here. As they do look like they've lost Vish now. They have one of their members down to about half their health here. That's the best with the smoke, trying to throw it up, trying to clear a little bit of a path here for himself. Deny the vision coming down from the high ground for these players engaging on top of him. And right down beside the river here and beside the ocean. SAS also making their way up, as we can see here. Here comes the side of Incognito Blue. Gonna drive straight into the side of Gunners here. Will the Gunners spot them? Will Gunners try to stay back and hold off here as the side of Incognito run into SAS? Straight past one squad into the next. Incognito perhaps going to be caught out here if they're not careful. We do lose another one for the side of Gunners though.
Absolute nightmare there, trying to make it up this hill in the open, getting sprayed down upon. Tabs nearly about to go down. Ice Snipe Ukraine, that will be Tabs down. Osmescus goes down to the Paradox. Ross at best running down now through the open. 2 going to be taken out. 2 as that is the second penetrate team wiped out in 10th place.
Snipe Ukraine there, really putting the hurt into the side of Gunners right now, as they do have only 1 member alive right now for the entire squad there. They're gonna lose another as they were knocked down. Ukraine now moving into the zone, and this zone getting real precarious, real dangerous, because it's a very height-oriented and height shifting zone here in this final game. We see actually the entire mountainside for these players having to climb up into the flat area of this zone. We see a number of compounds here, but we do see a very open zone. The only sort of cover here coming from the little ridges, the little hills, and also looks like this big wheel monstrosity here up at the top. I don't know what you want to call that, man.
I was just really watching Hazi there on the Ketamingos, Theo and Benji, because Kazi was the one to get a 1v3 finish in FPP. It was so beautiful. I wanted to catch another moment like that, but they didn't actually make the push there, so we'll keep watching as they move into zone. We're almost into the circle with the camera ourselves right now, with 8 teams still remaining in zone 6. That's pretty good going for action. Just got to try and make sure we get the camera with it. Is SAS taken out by VSN maybe? And I just came here a second too late, and that is actually definitely SAS taken out by VSN. That is crazy. VSN kill him and V-Man down, but they're going to get back up. Wow. So SAS out in 8th place there. And if I'm not mistaken, they just chilled the whole game. So looking at their kill count...
only 5 kills.
Only 5. Oh, it's good going. Sorry. I didn't catch any of that myself. Sorry, SAS. But I mostly saw them just chilling on the map. They must have came across a couple of squads in these later parts of the game that I didn't notice. Cheetah down in that smoke cloud too. Veshas trying to make it up. But... VSN still standing with all 4 members and racking up the kills.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye between the side of RPG Rat Pack here and also the side of Incognito Blue there, either ends of this hill, and also a side of Vision here this is Rat Pack here. Maybe the next victims of SA, the side of actually, should I say, Incognito here, or the side of Vision. We're quite putting down one of the members of Vision here, looking for another, but doesn't quite find it there. Is they do take them down one member. Vision trying to finish off the rest of the Rat Pack. There is a fall down, and that will be one less team in this final zone here. Vision really putting on the hurt against these teams into double figures worth of kills right now.
Just say hypothetically Vision continue this for every single game, they will actually have a chance, even though missing 1 week on the leaderboard, to really jump forward here. And it also, I think you got to remember Fallen Angels that dominated the last match aren't actually here tonight. They were there last week, absolutely dominating, put themselves right on top. We had a little flip through the scoreboard before. I can't do that again in the break.
Yeah, it's going to open up the opportunities for the likes of Vision here, moving into the second week. We're the top squad. They're not present in this second night of scrims, and this league, it opens up the doors for so many of these new teams coming in to try take that top spot here. Now also the side of RAF Blue struggling against Vision here as they get aggressed on down to one member themselves here. Also the side of Ketamingos there with the smoke in the center of this zone, trying to survive as we're down to 4 teams right now. 8 players alive here. Still got one of the members of Incognito still alive, hiding on the edge of his zone, perhaps for his placement points, down to 3 teams. Incognito in that final 3, they're not looking like they're going to be able to finish with the top chicken dinner, unless both combined with the power of Ketamingos, these 3 extra members can put in a hurt they need into the side of Vision, but Vision look all over the side of Ketamingos right now. Grenades, Molotovs, flying down on top of these duos.
Fair shots actually taken down by the play zone there. Killam almost getting the knock, but not quite. Killam needed to take a chance to heal up now. V-Man does go down. Ketamingos with their 2 players starting to make that push in. Also downing Lucifer in. Wilo on the flank right now. Can he clutch it out here? He will get Venom down. Can they heal and rev? There we go. It was actually Theo going down at the end there with VSN on top, and a sum total of 16 kills right there.
So close in that first game there. I thought Ketamingos could pull it off in that first game, but Vision barely escaped the certain second place there that Ketamingos were putting him into. And looking like the end of that first game, it could be a precursor to some very exciting things to come. We obviously looking like we got 11, 12, 13, and as soon as we see the music here come off, look like about 14 kills plus about 20 game points that we got for the side of Vision here, moving into this first game. So that's going to be a juicy 34 points that they're going to be acquiring from Miramar. And as we move into a Wrangel and Sandhawk for our final game, it looks like we could have a new top dog in tonight's scrims here.
Yeah, wicked stuff for VSN. See if they can continue this momentum, especially just jumping over from TPP as well. They don't really play FPP, and that can be pretty tricky in some nutty situations, but they've handled it fine. Ketamingos there in second place with 2 kills. Incognito with 6 in third. Brooks, oh yeah, Incognito Blue. Then RPG, AMZ, and Lionhearts. But yeah, worth noting the duo there managing to get 7 kills there. Paul Baz and Ice Snipe, you cry. We'll get some screenshots here. I'm going to just let the results from last week roll out. If you want to have a little talk about the results, will I take out the screenshots there at all, mate?
Yeah, no problem at all. And I think looking at results not only from last week but from this week is interesting, because we do have in this first place Vision way ahead on the leaderboard tonight with 36 points so far. The second and third are currently tied, and that's just down to the side of Incognito being able to survive down to that third place position there. Very aggressive, moving around this map and being able to survive actually with the vehicle straight under that mountainside. Do secure himself 16 points equal with Ketamingo. Obviously impressive to see. Also the side of that Giro getting himself into 5th position there. But what is surprising is SAS not up to form once again this week, unfortunately, as they do go down in that 9th position there, only securing himself with those 5 well, 8 positions, should I say, with those 5 kills will be 9 points in the end of game number 1. Not even double score points in this first game, but what was a really dominant victory from this squad in the first league and just last league. With what did we say? 3 first place finishes in a row. 3 weeks in a row getting first is really difficult to do. It almost isn't top there. I mean, Fallen Angels only managing to pull off a streak of 2 first place finishes.
Seconds here. Get these replays loaded up. How about that? That was a good game for replays, I think. Very eventful.
Definitely have to agree there. And Erangel going to be one of these maps that we're going to have to look at moving in. And Erangel, one of these maps that are just can go any way. We've seen what southern zones recently, I think, is a trend from how the zone likes to shift in these recent scrims. So if we do start to see more southern zones, I'm convinced that there's someone behind these zones in our scrims, because we're seeing a lot of southern zones. Last week we've seen a southern zone. This week, unusual zone for Miramar down in the south end. If we see another zone, exactly as we saw it twice in a row from last week's scrims in Erangel, I think I'm going to be very surprised, and I'm going to be messaging the side of Tencent about who's behind our scrims zones.
It can be nutty at times, and that was definitely a nutty game as well. Really good fights there. And there was, of course, a wicked squad wipe from Penetrate early on that we caught here in El Pozo, but
yeah.
Did I miss that? No, I definitely clipped that. That's just the end of it.
Yeah, here we go. So we do actually see, unfortunately, the side of the Elves falling down first in this game. One team had to fall first. Unfortunately, it was the Elves. But not shortly after, do we see actually the side of Penn game over, having a game over pretty early on in his first game. Here is they fall second in Miramar, so they're not going to be too happy about that. Game over. One of these teams that if we had seen them move later on and not be third parties, I think, by the side of Zed Paradox into later zone to get more kills on board, they could have had a very promising first game. It's going to be up to them to be careful how they drop into the second and the third game, being aware that they're not moving too close to multiple squads because they don't want to be third parties. Again, moving into Erangel or into Sana.
Yeah, I sometimes think as well, like I said, it's really important to be the third party in the triple drop. But if you can't control that, there is an alternative, which if you're the second party, of course, coming out on top of that, just moving and regrouping and hiding and healing up and all that, like not staying in the same spot, getting away from that spot straight away, because that's where the gunshots have been going off. That's where the evidence is. You've been there, you know, and there that was Penetrate taken out very early on. Here we have VSN. There were still 16 teams remaining at this point right now, but currently surrounding Vape.
Yeah, Vape had a unfortunately really hard time here. VSN moving in. Vape, unfortunately, not the greatest game either. Going to be a little bit disappointed. Rhino going down early in that fight as well was a massive step forward for Vision moving in here. I think they could have been a little more aggressive, actually, Vision, than what they already were. But props to Vision once again, with the way they've moved in, take that first knock from afar, then move in all over the side of Vape, on the high ground, on the low ground, in the mid ground, right beside Vape, making sure that they're separating themselves and allowing at least one of these members to secure those kills onto Vape. Because if you put yourself together, the distance that these players have to move with the joystick, with their gun around to the next player, is going to be smaller. So if you increase that distance between the players, it means more time that the player has to, the enemy player has to move their gun across to you, and allows you a little bit more time to spray in. Those fractions of a second all matter at a top level.
Yeah, and of course the other bonus to that is angles covered. You're surprising people from different angles. You know, you can take cover be from one angle, but another angle obviously going to flank that cover. And Willow's rooftop rear flank there was just nuts.
Yeah, it definitely was, and I think that was just well played vision there with making sure he had those different angles. I think it's almost like a game of chess between the two squads. Sometimes you've got to be able to cover each other in different positions. We see, unfortunately, a little bit too aggressive, trying to revive their teammate for the side of level one, and level one having unfortunately a bad game, and not going to be happy with that. Unfortunately, with a bad week last week, they're going to be looking for these points in game number 2, game number 3 to boost themselves up the leaderboard, especially as we say, teams like Fallen Angel not here from this first game, and it's going to be opening that scoreboard a little bit wider for these new teams coming in this week.
Oops.
This was exactly where we are. Okay, congrats.
Guess there in the middle of that play. Yeah, some really good fights here. Some FPP action, pushing, lots of good shootouts. Some really good rotations as well, and some cross paths in those rotations. That was, of course, Gods of Greece taking out 2 Lionhearts members there in the middle of the game. Coming in for the first straight away, don't hesitate. But yeah, Gods of Greece had a little bit of a hard time after this, I think, coming into zone.
Yeah, and that's just down to them being very aggressive. They tried to continue to go onto those kills for the side of RAF Blue. They did have the angle against RAF Blue, but they didn't respect the fact that that Phase 5 zone was moving in. We talked earlier about that in the game. When you get to the Phase 5, Phase 6, Phase 7 zones, that's when the zone starts to really do the damage, and we saw it firsthand here against the side of Gods of Greece. That zone really just chewed this entire side of Gods of Greece roster.
Incognito Blue doing a great job keeping them out as well. Really, so
yeah,
I wish I could click on the map right now and just zoom in on the full locations. Obviously try and catch a mix of FPP and Sky Camera, but my personal favorite, just for analyzing what's going on, is the Sky Camera, of course. A lot of people like to watch from FPP too, so we get a mix here. But yeah, there's that knock, man. They just keep on getting surrounded. It was a good couple angles. Covered from that slightly higher ground, slightly better zone ground. A lot of thirsting going on as well. Not letting them survive. Atlas about to go back down to zone. Perseus drove away, and I think the kill feed was taken out by the other Incognito team, maybe?
Yes, straight into the side of Incognito there is, unfortunately, RAF Blue, they're not able to secure that kill. They were a little bit slow moving around to try and shoot that vehicle, and here comes the side of Incognito Blue, and what I would have actually liked to see is Gunners try, wait for Quivash there to move forward past the side of past the side of Gunners, should I say here, and then take down the second vehicle moving in. I think they did try to do that moving in. They kind of left their compound a little bit early. I think if they waited for the side, the second vehicle for Gunners to pass by, they could have been a little bit more successful, secured themselves the vehicle, and then been able to drive up that mountain away from the snipers at long range than the likes of Ukraine.
Yeah, we saw mid-game, VSN had 4 vehicles, and definitely no chance that they also came first place. 4 vehicles in Miramar is kind of a magic recipe, and you can't just be running around on foot late game like you saw Penetrate trying to make it up through that open field there. I mean, there's technically enough vehicles on the map for most teams to have 4. So they are out there. You've just got to scour the map for them, land in the right areas, learn the drop zones. I mean, just Google it. Where's those drop zones at? Where's those vehicles at? You know, and then just drop around there and get 2 vehicles, 3 vehicles. Easy. Really important in Miramar to have those. Not enough people ensure that they've got them in the late game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how now we see in these replays the likes of Ukraine, they're a little bit caught out, unfortunately, beside Vision. Sniper Ukraine, as the name says, prefers to be long range, this player, away from the close range combat of the Uzi of the enemy teams that we've seen so often in recent scrims, but just being not able to handle the entire squad of Vision. I think Sniper Ukraine should have perhaps done what Incognito did, instead back allowed the side of Vision to clear out the rest of his teams and secure a higher placement point. But securing 5th nonetheless, going to be amazing for what was only 2 members in their team.
if they can continue this momentum up. It's momentum is a big thing in scrims and matches. You know, the less you fight, the less momentum you've got, the harder it is to deal with the pressure and that. So off to a great start. We'll see if they can continue. There'll be other teams trying to gun for this top position. Let's see how the rest of the night goes. The next map, of course, being a Wrangle. Little break from Miramar here. Fun as that was, we'll see the classic Wrangle map up next. Quite interested to see where the flight path will be and where people choose to drop. A vehicle's a lot less important in a Wrangle, but still very good utility for the game and rotations. And back to the start with the replays now. Keep these rolling through until next game starts, and might just go grab a drink. What do you say, mate?
Sounds like a plan.
Keep these rolling through. See you in for the next time. I'll
I think it's in about 30 seconds.
43 in 10 minutes. Oh, it's in 4 minutes there.
Oh, there we go.
See you in about 4 minutes. Enjoy the replays running through again. Okay, welcome back. Look at this. We're already seeing this hot drop just by default there. Damn. Okay, well, keep me up. Right, no iPad for this game. Worries for me though.
Who needs the iPad? We got
need
the
it,
one
just
big full screen now. So
Just a little perk. Yeah, that's
we
all
got
chill.
the
Here we are. So let's have a look at the map now. You can see some double drops there, and that will actually be the RAF blue. I kept on saying incognito blue last match.
Yeah, there we go. So we got RAF blue here in the school. Looks like a very central zone from this map so far. Could be a little bit nasty though if it does decide to move further south. I don't think we'll see too many shots firing going away onto these teams. However, I do say that we do have a little bit of a skirmish here between the sides of Gods of Greece here, already in a little bit of trouble.
Was Perseus getting sprayed down upon by Omond? Don't think the rest of Greece are close enough. You can also see the likes of AMZ, Matas taking out Kitten there with the Uzi, so that might be Ketamingo's out early on too by the hand. Perseus actually pretty surrounded right now, healing up as they crawl into the top of this building, but all 4 of SAS are pushing in. The rest of Gods of Greece aren't quite close enough to save them.
Yeah, we do see 3 of the side of 3 kills for the side of AMZ go ahead. Gods of Greece Perseus, we see the rotation there, perhaps trying to find a flank around the side. Not going to matter. Perseus has been knocked down, and looks like SAS are hungry for this first blood. They do secure themselves that 1 kill, and maybe decide to move now into the side of the rest of Gods of Greece, now that they're only a trio. Gods of Greece, one of these members here, still with nothing, in about, what, 2 minutes into the game now?
Does look like Gods around a little bit, but I'm not sure if they've got enough loot to really take this fight. I mean, Atlas does actually have level 3 helmet, level 2 armor here. Not heaps of meds in the team though. Meds on Kratos.
And that's why you don't want to be taking the fights here, because if you don't have the meds to heal up, you're very much at risk of a third party moving in and really very easily just deleting you from the second game here in Erangel. SAS, so we questioned their performance from the first game, especially with their results from the first league just gone, but they look like they're back on form so far in this early game with the 1 kill on the side of Gods Greece, but still very early days in the second game. We're going to have to see how they perform moving later into the mid game and into the late game. Even heck, into the later stages of this early game. We see, however, the side of the Elves, the first team out in this game number 1, trying to find a little bit more pressure, find a little bit more kills, which is risky considering they were out so early on in the first game against the side of RAF Blue.
Oh, what the hell is going on right now? Look at that giant. Some of these graphical glitches, that's a new one. We've had the giant M4 before, but not the motionary giant M4. The past few seasons, the giant gun glitch completely frozen, but that was moving. So it's quite an exciting new bug. Season 14 right now in PUBG. Really looking forward to every new season for the new bugs and problems it brings.
Keep an eye out on this red zone here. Is going to be a little bit of a talking point if it does take one of these members outside. For the likes of Elves, they're in a very vulnerable position outside when the red zone was active there. Red zone has finally stopped and ceased against its fire against these 2 teams here on the side of RAF and Elves. But now comes the smokes out. Now comes the maneuver closer towards the side of Elves from RAF. We see the high ground also becoming an option for RAF as they move their way up into these flats just outside of the school.
2 down for Elves. Brooks firing back on Bailey straight there. Bailey taken down to about 30 health, but not taken out. There's a lot of smoke everywhere right now. Brooks does go down, so that's another down there for RAF Blue. Pretty intense fight right now. Quan is standing back up. Bailey made it to the red building there, but didn't actually rev Psycho whilst those smokes were out ready for the rev. Those Psychos still crawling around, and now in about 40% of that bleed out time. Gonna have to get this rev in. Look like Bailey is coming straight back.
This is very risky.
It has to be done though right now, and it is worth it because also considering Brooks is half dead body is now pinned. Taking the attention of Raphael and Titty, there is actually time to get this in. Lord not really being able to push anything serious. And I'm quite surprised that an Overwatch hasn't been on Brooks, and Brooks has got away with moving over across that field there. That really shouldn't have happened, allowing Brooks to get away. You really need to pin the knocks. There's no point not firsting them if you're not going to pin it. You either need to first or pin, and doing neither will lead you to a situation like that. A tactical retreat from Brooks and a rev from the team.
Yeah, and that's just by both sides, not pinning down Psycho either, allowing Bailey just to run straight through. There was no smoke on the path to the rev, and that's when they could have pinned him down. Brooks down again, however, from Psycho, and that's why I suppose this rev was so important. The side of Elves is now, it does look like RAF back down to 3 members here and still split, but still the side of Elves here as well, so it can still be done for the side of RAF Blue. They can still make it out of this fight, but we have lost Brooks for definite now. Definitely going to be at a major disadvantage with only 3 players split between sandwiched against the side of Elves here.
Have a little look at the map as well, see where people are. VSN, RPG, Incognito, Silent Mercenaries, Lionheart, all on the east, and Lionheart's on the north side. Most of the other teams were actually in zones. Then Paradox made their way to Sosnovka military base, maybe getting some extra nice loot there, possibly. AMZ did take out most of Ketamingos, and we do have Misfits also in Yasnaya.
Yeah, it does look like a little bit of quiet game.
Quiet so far, but Elves are still surrounding RAF Blue right now, and they got another knock. Where's the one they killed? Yeah. Brooks is back down somehow. Sorry, I missed that. Probably look at the map there. Commentary. If you were watching, you probably caught that better than I did. That will be Brooks out completely there. Another knock does go back onto the side of Elves. 3 here from RAF Blue, pushing across to where they think might be. Might get caught out here. Now they've heard the footsteps. Salmon's coat.
This is dangerous now. Side of RAF Blue moving in now with the advantage themselves. Against the side of Elves right now, and Elves really in trouble right now if they can't control this engagement from the side of RAF. As they move in closer, trying to scout it out there. However, they do manage to find that one knock up. Doesn't matter though, it's actually the side of RAF Blue will be wiped out there by the side of Elves, and Elves secure himself a reason to play more into these scrims, able to now get themselves to the top of this leaderboard. If they can get these more kills on board here, up to 4 kills now in this second game. Still the chances, we say, to get more kills, get into double digits, and get these high game points in the second and the third game. And Elves could be looking at a top spot in this leaderboard. But we see now decided Gunners versus also it does look like these lines here moving in together against each other, trying to control these compounds as they move closer into the zone. The low ground for Animals Lions versus the high ground of Gunners. But that's not going to stop Diablo there as they try find a couple shots onto Gunners.
Oh, the back and forth does start. AMZ Animals being cheeky and getting away with firing and looting up an entire airdrop. We have Penetrate. They are just about healed up right now. Didn't really manage to get any shots into AMZ though. Animals starting that conflict quite well. Penetrate maybe missing the chance to sneak up on them whilst they were distracted with the airdrop. Maybe not pushing quite close enough to do so, but Tabernax does snipe Hazy down with a Car 98 headshot. The ball is rolling on the side of Penn, but can they keep it up in this early stage of this engagement?
It's going to be interesting to see if this grenade does land onto the side of Animals Lions. Will it pops someone down, doesn't quite find his mark. That would have been an amazing grenade there from the side of Gunners, who do have one knockdown for himself here. The grenade's just trying to prevent the side of Animals Lions there from engaging closer towards Gunners here as they look to try take them down. Diablo trying to find a little bit of a cheeky grenade there through that window. It's not going to land on anyone. There's no one right there. But it's going to try grenade out these windows. Try suss out exactly where Gunners are in this building ahead of them.
That early stage of this engagement when I was talking about it before, because these kind of things do go on backwards and forwards quite well. That's another headshot for Tabs there in the Matas. Tabs is killing it with that Car 98. Sorry that I've been missing these first-person clips there, buddy. But that is 2 headshot knocks for Tabs so far in this medium rage engagement. As he currently getting the rev on Matas. Matas standing back up now, needs to heal up. Fish throwing nades in, but still, this is not came to close quarters yet. Diablo's headed round to another building to get a separate angle, but really need to switch up the angle completely to catch penetrate out right now. Diablo almost down there to a spray from that top window. I think that was Rasa Best there with the DP. It was. Rasa Best now cooking a nade up. Maybe going to try and finish off Diablo. Just a little tickle of that explosion. Oh no, Diablo's healed back up. That was exactly where Diablo was. So excellent shot from Rasa Best there, but Diablo had kept on moving. The rest of AMZ now rotating round 2.
Yeah, and so will decided Gunners there. As you notice, patients are going to call this out from Animals Lines there, and actually does look like Fish and also Tab going to move further back, and looks like both of these teams may just decide to disengage after all of those items being used up. Perhaps teams out grenades, out smokes, out of ways to move closer into each other and try to secure those kills. So a smart decision, I think, from the side of Animals Lions. They do use a bunch of grenades there, and I think they had run out of equipment to try engage a little bit further onto Gunners and make that tactical retreat to try and secure himself more equipment, get more loot into their pockets, and perhaps get these kills against Gunners. A little bit of revenge later on in the second game.
Right, they might get rolled a little bit in the chat for running away, but you know, tactical retreat. Oh, that's what it's going down in our books as tactical retreat there. I would have loved to see that fight finish off, but unfortunately not going to be the case there. Some really good headshots from Tabs. Would have loved to have caught them from that first perspective. But let's jump down here as SAS look like they're right on top of 22, which is level 1 Bunny right now. And they're starting to move in. Who's moving in on who right now? Let me see if I can figure out what's going on here. It's been a while since I looked at the map. It does look like SAS have been in here. Like level 1. And oh, here's a new... The new giant gun glitch is changing, man.
The giant gun, that is amazing, that gun. I want that in my pockets. I mean, do you have pockets big enough to fit that in?
Oh, it's gone. Magic.
No, I wanted it. I wanted that gun. That's the best gun in the game. Who needs an AWM? I mean, just look at that. That's spicy stuff.
Ridiculous sometimes. But it's new. After the new update, the gun glitch, the giant gun glitch is different. So I'm glad they're keeping it interesting for me here.
Maybe it will take someone out. Could you imagine if it starts firing down at someone?
But it was moving for the first time in the last game. We saw the giant gun sort of floating and moving. I've never. Oh, Oman here looking down above lobby man. Oman could make a really interesting play here, jumping down. Nice shot, Omondi. Oh, let's go. SAS back on top. They need to continue this momentum. This is how they were last game. Crazy maneuvers, jump shots, drop shots, wiping squads out left, right, and center, coming out with double figure kills, sorry, and chicken dinners. But last week, they weren't quite as hot as they were in the first league. Let's see if they can bring it back.
Yeah, they really struggled last week against their opponents there, which were the Fallen Angels from League 1, who just completely dominated that last week's games. But level 1, one of these other teams that have done disappointing a little bit in the first night of this league. So going to the second night this week, level 1 surely want to take out SAS. It's perhaps a target kill here against this squad. Try pushing further down in the leaderboard, but they've already lost 3 members, and I think now for level 1, it's going to be a case of retreating here, as SAS actually finished that off, and there go level 1 down out of their second game.
Yeah, we'll be level 1 out there in 17th place, so not the best place to go out, but chances are, if you meet SAS when they're on top form, you'll be going out. Simple as that. So maybe this is SAS back on top form, and we'll see if they can continue the momentum. Pretty important to do so. You can't just wipe one squad. Last season they were wiping 3 or 4 squads, like we said, and coming out top 3, and that's why they came out so far ahead of the other squads in that leaderboard. If we get another chance, I can put the results up from last week for a second. And we're going to map a little bit more right now and see if we can find out. We're going to come across who next. Yes, then in this northeast corner could possibly pin the edge, but might just head straight in.
It's going to be interesting to see how this zone plays out. I think we've got a very nice zone in this second game. A lot of places it could still be open. I think because there's so many different areas, main compounds that are still up in this play area, teams aren't going to be willing to move in too far into this zone and secure themselves a compound, because that zone could still shift anywhere. We're still only on phase 2, that blue zone closing in. So very early days in terms of this second game. However, we do have vision. The leaders of that first game now moving in on this buggy with an aggressive rotation inside to this play zone.
Let's have a watch of these rotations. There we have it. There is a rotation crossing a rotation. Just too late to catch that one. Grease smashing down on RPG as they pull up on the wrong compound right now. RPG pull Baz down. Ice Snipe Cry hit by a nade there. About to be finished off. Is actually finished off there. Argus going to get revved. A couple of these teams really seem to be on it recently with VSN. Definitely were last time. In the last game, I saw Willow go for the rev within less than a second of the knock. We said it before. There we go. Gods of Grease finish them off. I've said it before. You need to either get the rev straight away or not at all. You're not going to get the rev, you may as well go fight. If you're going to get the rev, you may as well get it straight away. Sometimes we're dilly-dallying, hesitating about getting that rev in. But yeah,
that's what cost you. That's what cost you, isn't it? It's like you spend so much time reviving. It is by the time you actually then decide to revive, the enemy team is already oppressed upon you. And talking about oppressing upon you, we see 2 different teams moving now into the side of Gods of Greece with both gunners and Vision. Vision choosing actually to move the other way, is I think they did spot out exactly where the side of RPG that pack were, and also the side of GOG right now. Big Gunners looking to try take down Gods of Greece here, take down these Titans here, and secure himself kills in this second game.
And back to the... Does look like there's Rasa Best getting down a knock on Atlas.
Like Rasa, they're trying to make a little bit of information there for the side of Gunners there, as they do actually have another knock up against them, and Rasa going to be forced to retreat here. Murdoch very split from the side of the rest of the squad here. That is an amazing gun. I want that one. That's my new favorite. That one, the
Giant M4.
Yeah, I want the giant M4. I mean, that might be able to carry me. Unfortunately you weren't able to carry me in that stream, but maybe the giant M4 will be able to.
Alright, we'll carry you after this. Do it tonight. We'll take you to victory on emulator.
What's your next professional player that's going to have to attempt to carry me? I mean, I've already taken down one professional player's hopes of carrying me to chicken dinner, but I mean, by means all more can try.
Oh, Ross Best gets RPG Python. RPG Python. Oh my god, there's so many teams right now. Yeah, that's Python bled out. Tabernac's getting the headshot on Python. Nice one, Tabs. Another headshot for you that I didn't catch first person. Sorry. Good to see though that you're running that Car 98 like a boss. As Murdoch actually pushing in on Gods of Greece right now, and it would be pretty good for Murdoch if the rest of Penetrate were up here with him. Not really worth making the 1v3 push, but good that he's up there scouting their movement. He can hear their footsteps, pretty much knows exactly what building they're in, but definitely doesn't want to go down. So please don't peek too much right now, buddy. If the rest of Penetrate can catch up. But it's a little bit tricky to catch up because there is Silent Mercenaries up the hill as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that they put themselves in a little bit of a deficit here with Murdoch so far ahead. Yes, he get the information advantage, but losing one member and making that 3 versus 3 happen for the side of Squad of Greece, which is exactly what they want. They don't want this advantage. Murdoch goes down, as we say, now unfortunately too far ahead to be revived by the rest of the Penn Gunners squad here, and down goes Murdoch most likely, making this the 3v3 that God's Greece were looking for, and now evening the playing field against Gunners, with also Gunners having to face off against Silent Mercenaries, as you say, behind them.
You need to move as a squad or not move at all, really, when it comes to these important scrims. Oh, there's the SAS Omon starting to smash through Zed. Paradox 2 elsewhere on the map. Could jump and catch up with that. We'll just catch this zone popping in again and see where people have got to go next. Those go north away from them. Ross Best right up in the grill with Silent Mercenaries, though.
Yeah, here we go, and as we say, we have to fight these 2 different flanks here, but Rasa goes down, and now down to actually one of these members remaining here for the Silent Mercenaries. They try to engage upon the side of Gunners here, but now could be in trouble and run into their own graves here, like the hands of Gunners as they move close to grenades from the side of Mercenaries. Perhaps not going to find their markers. We see they're not going to take any more knocks onto that kill feed on the left side of our screens. And Vish also has to now try revive one of their members, try revive Rasa there. Lower down. Now we do actually have the side of their teammates looking out, trying to find a little bit more vision here. Also, interestingly enough, we do see the side of SDS move close onto Zed Paradox and taking down Zed Paradox out of this game.
Oh, Jesus, there's half a penetrative down right now. V-Man has been headshot. Get him still standing. Neo here. Oh my days, we just missed this one as well coming into this fight
Here
halfway
comes
through
Vision.
it. But yeah, we've got half a pen down. We've got Vision pushing in. Devious does manage to get Neo and Bleed out there. Nice one. V-Man still down, killing, running around like a headless chicken. What's going to happen? How are you going to handle this? Hopefully going to be able to get this revenue and balance the playing fields a little bit. As Gods of Greece will have also heard those gunshots, and are they going to push in? Willow also on the flank as well. The flank master, Willow himself.
Willow now in trouble here. Gods of Greece now behind Willow, as you said. The Flank Master being flanked by the side of Gods of Greece there as they rotate in away from the side of Gunners and into another squad here. In these squads, there's so many of them alive still, but with this zone becoming so small, there's nowhere for these teams to run without running into more enemies straight ahead of them. We see actually the side of Gods of Greece now struggling against Vision. Vision doing very well to defend themselves against these 2 different teams, both Game Over and the side of will be Lionhearts. Actually, should I say Lionhearts now going out of the game. One of these teams that are known for performing well. Unfortunately, Lionhearts not up to the standard we would normally see them at in other nights. Game Over back up to their full 3 members here that they got remaining, but Vision gonna look to finish that squad off.
Yeah, and we did see Lionhearts take down 2 team members. Sorry, 2 of their team members be taken down there by MZ from up the hill. One of them jumped out the vehicle and died from the fall damage, but then the kill was stolen. Spoidy's been knocked right now and will be crawling into the shed there. AMZ look like they've just started to move away a little bit from up there. There is now a big rotation to make, and Penn don't want to be fighting here too long. They want to be hopefully securing a vehicle if they've still got one around anywhere. I can't see too many vehicles in this location. Maybe they're going to be running on foot, which is actually currently 300 meters away from the zone. They need to probably finish this engagement before they do so.
They may just try to keep the side of Vision here onto the zone, but it's very risky putting themselves at risk of the zone as well themselves. I mean, this is now going to be a Phase 5 zone, and we saw how the Phase 5 zone deleted through Gods of Greece in game number 1, and could happen to more teams here. But here comes the side of SAS, and this is the SAS squad that we've expected to see in the second game, that we want to see from League 1 to League 2 here, as they move in for more kills here, trying to put them up to double figures. Penn lose their lives, unfortunately, to the side of Vision as they press and are forced to press up into Pen, but at what cost could this be? Now down, as we say, to only 2 members against the full SAS roster, and it looks like it could just be 2 more kills going over to the SAS squad.
Yeah, Willow finishing that off there with the drop shot. That was penetrate, wiped out. Now SAS probably going to consider moving to zone. Looks like they're aware of what I was just talking about a few seconds ago. It's not time to be hanging around fighting in this area when there's 300 meters to go. And looking inside, you can see Gods of Greece on top of Incognito and only have one other team right in the middle. Atlas is down. Who's going to come out on top of this one? It does look like as we move over here, we see Incognito out on top as they knock one of their own players with the vehicle explosion, but they're just going to be chilling out now. It's the rest of these teams pushing to zone. They've got time to get the rev and get those meds in. Does look like SAS are pushing in hard right now. It might be putting right up on top of the squad that's already in here. It does look like they are right here, right now, going to try and dominate this compound and have it for themselves. It's right in the middle of the circle. Beaumont here with a massive flip, M249. Does look like they're trying to run out the window, but it's not going to happen. Double peek into Omon's M249 and will be knocked.
Don't want to double peek on that gun then to the M249. That's going to do down, go to side of Vape X Botson. Fortunately taken down there from the side of SAS for them. And they're going to be down in 8th position there, or should I say 9th position there. As we see now, 8 teams remaining in the second game. Incognito there with the explosion, trying to do a little bit of damage onto Vision, who regress up here. These teams all looking to gain advantage on this high ground, as this zone looks like it's going to end on a hill, and it looks like it's going to be the team who has the highest point, has the highest advantage, and the highest chance of winning and getting that chicken dinner.
Nice. Incognito versus AMZ on this western side right now. Incognito getting a couple knocks into AMZ. Diablo running in zone, eating away at his health. Incognito up on the high ground, sending those shots in, and a nade does take out Hazi and finish off, take out Kira. Matas about to bleed out too. More nades coming down. Kira going to just about get away from that one. Diablo maybe be able to get the rev in. Nope.
Yeah, it does look like Animals Lines. Then we talked about a high ground advantage for the side of Incognito there, and Animals Lines is really struggling, but the vehicle's going to prove vital for these teams moving up into this zone, into this final player, and so will the smokes and the vehicles. Using the vehicles as a blockade, they're using the smoke to deny vision from the enemies, but here comes the side of Gunners. They're going to have to try fight there. All teams in front of them, 5 different teams here, 4 different teams should I say, in front of them, including themselves here as this 5th squad. 2 down already, so it's going to be difficult. Perhaps try to flank around the side here, as we see them doing into the side of Animals Lines. Do not want to go into this full squad of SES to control one of these few compounds inside the zone.
Yeah, SES holding down the central compound real well, and they did good to just come in here and take this straight away. The zone still closing in kind of around them, smashing down Incognito on the high ground there, not having too much trouble just to wipe them out here, but there is a little bit of health left in Cheetah, and with those smokes they won't be able to see Cheetah right now. AMZ Diablo does take out Tabanat, and that will be penetrate gone.
AMZ doing well to survive. SES in trouble though.
AMZ now out. You just cursed them off the edge of the map there.
Well, there you go. They're off the second game. We're going to have to try have a bit more against the caster curse in game number 3, but actually SAS do really well here to take down their highest threat in this final zone, which was Incognito. Blue on this high ground with the vehicles so close to the edge of the zone. They used the vehicles there to blow them up, and now that they're so low, another knock from SAS from Psycho straight down onto Incognito. And with that zone going to be moving in about 40 seconds, it's going to be SAS with the compound with the advantage.
Beaumont and Dipok just running straight into the flank on the side there. They could have been a little bit more aggressive, but they're just playing it medium right now. Danny's coming around the opposite side. Psycho is staying back and sending the cover and fire in. Beaumont and Dipok pushing in right now. Starting to spray into the smoke. What can they pull off? Very aggressive here. They did know they had to make it in a zone. Their compound was a good 100 meters, 50 meters out. So they made that movement in as fast as possible.
here, looking like they're going to get that second knockup that they need. And now comes the aggression. Now comes the time for SAS with that M249 to really just, with the grenades, with the Hail Mary plays here up against the side of Incognito. When they've got two members down, spraying back the smoke. I want to see SAS try to be aggressive here, and if to try take that chicken, to try put themselves back up form here. So many low health bars. Can they finish it off? One of the members down remaining, but it's not going to matter as the side of SAS secure himself the second game, secure himself the chicken dinner with the high amount of kills that we expected them and finally see from them.
Yeah, really good stuff there. So that will be a sum total of 19 kills for SAS. Like we said, double digits, chicken dinners. They were running it last season. Can they bring it back this one? It does look like they're starting to. Nearly 40 points for this single game right now. Incognito second place there with 10. Elf in third with 6. AMZ Animals with a total of 11 in fourth place. Penetrate Misfits with 4 in fifth. Vision Gaming 5 and 6th. Rookie, Gemma and Savage none in 7th.
Yeah, Elf in third place as well. Going to be important for the side of Elf to secure himself that third position. Being out in first in game number 1 was exactly not how you want the games to start. Secure himself for 16 points in game number 2 going to be real important. 24 points going to Incognito in second. 39, a whopping 39. The highest score we've seen, VSN only achieving 36 in game number 1. Going now towards SAS. So SAS put himself back on the board, and with VSN unfortunately out a little bit too soon in that second game, it might open the doors. We say to SAS now climbing up in this third game. It's going to come down to the Sandhawk in game number 3 here to see who will be on the top of our leaderboard tonight, because we've got a couple of different contenders.
Are you still on the scoreboard there, mate?
I'm not on the scoreboard. Yeah, looking at these replays here is we in the second game, and this is the side of RAF Blue really just putting in the work against the side of Elves. One of the Elves squads in tonight's games. Unfortunately, kind of struggling here against RAF Blue, but they do manage to secure themselves the kills that they need later on. RAF, I think they were a little bit too aggressive moving into the high ground. Rightly so, they did have the advantage in numbers, but they didn't have the advantage in height. And height, in my opinion, always going to be a bigger advantage than the players you have on your squad, because you're still going to have to funnel through a choke point on that staircase, and you're still going to be easily wiped down by the likes of these close quarter weapons like the M249, like the Uzi. Seeing it the next replay here, we do have Gunners up against the side of Animals Lions there. Then unfortunately, skirmish here, it doesn't quite pay out here. Both teams eventually going to retreat later on, but nevertheless, we do see a little bit of grenades flying high, a little bit of knocks from either side, but no kills going over to each side. Animals Lions running out of grenades, running out of equipment, running out of ammo, and with the zone moving so close behind them, choosing to make a tactical retreat, rotate away to the flank side of Gunners and survive till that final zone. And so do Gunners as well, interestingly enough. And Animals Lions outlasting Gunners in this second game, even albeit by 1 position. These grenades going high, but not going to find anyone there. Tab did do work though, gets the double knocks with headshots as we mentioned earlier in the game. The grenades not going to land onto anyone, and now about is the time that Animals Lions say, okay, we're out grenades in. We see both Gunners two duos there meeting up to form that 4-man powerhouse. We see these squads make before we make the engagement to move in against the enemies, and Animal Signs respecting that they unfortunately didn't have the high ground, they didn't have the positioning there against Gunners, and retreating for that moment with the border closing in right behind them. Smart decision as well, with 17 different teams as well live in this game, so you don't want to go out first, you don't want to go out early. SAS Oman with amazing drop shot to secure that kill, and that's how you do it. And unfortunately, never won another game they're struggling on. They just were not in synergy together with each other. Level 1, unfortunately, I think they need to try be a little bit more decisive with the plays that they're making. They need to be a little more synergized and close together, especially if you're going to go up against SAS. If you're going to make that aggressive rotation, you best be sure you go in as a team, because there was nothing that Rimes really could do in that engagement. Unfortunately, kind of just flops at the end of this, trying to run away, gets taken out despite the smokes being put in place. SAS doing that job to finish off level 1. Then into the next replay we have Vision with the rotation in, and this is getting to the point where we actually had Gunners move into the sides of Ghost of Greece and also be flanked by the side of Silent Mercenaries. Ghost of Greece here now taking out the side of Rat Pack, and Rat Pack trying to move in. Unfortunately, the first victims of teams and many teams that wanted to take this compound away from Ghost of Greece here, securing themselves 2 kills that they needed to, and with a 3rd kill onto Rat Pack soon to follow here a little bit after. A very, very quick finish onto the final member of Rat Pack here as he just pop himself up to the window and get pulled down into the dirt there by Ghost of Greece there, and the rest of Rat Pack will fall down. But now comes the aggressive rotation from Gunners. Gunners also trying their hands at this second game. Very close ahead here, away from their team. Murdoch, unfortunately, a little bit of an overextension. Murdoch does lose their life in this engagement, gets knocked down from the roof there. Didn't have the vision clear on where Ghost of Greece exactly were, and that cost Murdoch massively in that engagement. They have to know exactly where Ghost of Greece are moving, exactly where they are before you make that movement in, because being sniped out like that and just burst down by Ghost of Greece allowed them to make it equal in that 3 versus 3, and also put them on the side of Gunners against also Silent Mercenaries moving in behind them, as we see now in this replay moving in. Silent Mercenaries trying their hand at taking out in that 3rd party against the side of Gunners, taking them down, but not able to quite find it, and Gunners do end up out on top. These grenades not going to land through the smoke, and Silent Mercenaries just not having the game that they wanted to in this Erangel map here. The Molotovs not going to land on point. But now we head to the next fight here, or the many fights that happen towards the end of this game as we approach that phase 5 of Erangel. Zone moving in very close behind them. Ghost of Greece now rotating in against the side of Vision there. Pen also in trouble, sandwiched between 2 different teams, soon to be 3 teams as we see soon. SAS moving into that compound. It's going to be pretty dangerous there to side of Pen, and Pen not able to deal with the 3 teams as we'll see soon enough. But Vision putting down the hurt against Animals Lions there. That 3rd squad, the duo vehicle there, one tries to jump out, gets knocked down, the other knocked down with the fire from Vision there. Unfortunately losing their lives, and AMC go down 2 members. Here comes, however, so RPG, the OGs now moving in away from that team, and the team's just moving away, choosing not to fight at the edge of this zone as it moves in the end of that phase 4 into phase 5. As we say, Pen now in trouble as we saw SAS move in behind them and take them out with the help of Vision. Pen really really do need to watch their positioning. The second game now, the 10 game over, have been vulnerable to that third party. The flanks really breaking point for game over here as Vision move in to this final game. It's final point of the second game for them, should I say, is SES move in, try to take down the side of Pandas over the hill. They peak, and with the help of Vision engaging here, Menace not able to finish off Vision. They do go down, and outside of that top 10 position, game over really having a hard time. With second team out in game number 1, 11th place in game number 2. And game over really going to struggle moving into game 3, I imagine, if they cannot be able to control the third party flanks behind them. Switching over to the side of Incognito, they're just wiping out a team as casual you do, I suppose here. SAS now moving in towards this final zone, securing themselves that compound away from X bots there, who had the excellent positioning in this compound, but just were not able to 1v1 the side of SAS Omond here, as well as just the spray from Omond on the M249 straight onto Vapex. The double peak not going to be enough to survive off that one, I'm afraid. Vapex down from the stairs behind him. Excellent turnaround from Omond there, just being aware of their positioning, does not let that flank come down from Vapex bots, and secure himself 3 kills to the side of SES just from Omond alone in that final compound fight. But now comes the open fight of this final zone as AMZ struggle. They lose 2 members down to 1 as they try to make that aggressive move into the top hill, the kings of the hill right now in Incognito. SAS from the buildings below as they put excellent work down onto the side of Incognito here. Incognito down to 3 members with a Nox, barely surviving that pressure there from Psycho with the spray. Dango Gunners in 5th place, Dango Animals Lines in 4th position, takes us down to 3 different teams here in this final zone. And now the only other team alive, apart from SAS and Incognito, is the Elves. Elves falling down in 3rd place to try and make that aggressive move into the side of Incognito. A rendezvous not really ever going to work, unfortunately, but that zone gonna force SAS out of this compound and into the side of Incognito, who unfortunately behind the border, they don't have much room to maneuver, and in a phase 7 zone they don't want to even touch the edge of that blue zone because it's going to destroy their health bars in this late game station. Excellent knock from SAS in this early part of the engagement in their forces. Smoke out forces the time to revive, but not able to move despite SAS here moving in. Psycho there with the excellent positioning from the edge, who is just pinning the entire squad of Incognito behind that tree, behind those vehicles, as Omond and the rest of SAS are pressed down from 2 different sides, pinning Incognito 3 different ways into that hill, allowing the aggressive movement upwards, allowing the grenades forward, and allowing SAS, and especially Omond here, just to finish off even more kills and get themselves those juicy 19 kills that they eventually land on, with those extra 4 going their way in the final stage of the game. And back onto the first game replays as we see Miramar here. Are you here, Bigfoot? I think you might be listening, guys. I think we might have lost him. I hope we haven't. Yeah, unfortunately, side of Elves there, who had a better game in an angle there, falling down in 1st position. First team to fall there in the second, in the first game, should I say, and gone game over there to fall 2nd in his first game as Z Paradox make their way forward and take them down. Also, let us know how you're doing, guys. If you enjoyed the stream, are you excited for Sandhawk moving into this 3rd game? It's going to be an interesting final game for you guys. Got in store. We saw a lot of action, a lot of shoulder leans, a lot of what I would like to see dabs in that final game. If you've not seen the games from last week's scrims, go check them out. They are, of course, on the YouTube channel. Bigfoot scrims. If you just look that up on YouTube, you surely will find it. We see Game Over being just wiped out, deleted from the game itself there by Paradox, and moving into this next engagement between Vision and Vape Xbots here. Vape Xbots, 3 members versus 4, struggling after being knocked down from long range. Teams moving in here. We see Vapex just kind of struggling in this first game, moving down into 16th place. But obviously, Vape had, unfortunately, not the greatest game either in game number 2. But Vision team has had an excellent first game. They secured themselves the first place at Chicken Dinner in game number 1, securing themselves 36 points. SAS in the second game, coming back to form from the very low, unfortunately, 9 points that they managed to earn in 8th position there in game number 2 with 5 kills, 4 game points in tow. But securing himself those 9 points plus the 39 points is going to put them up to 48 points in total by the end of game number 2. And that is now going to put them instead to get into the likes of the 70s, even perhaps the 80s, if you can get some insane amount of kill score. And another kind of 20 kills would do it. In the Sandhawk matchup, we've seen Sandhawk be pretty brutal before. We've seen teams get caught out in previous scrims between Painan, between hills, between rocks and bushes. It's very possible for these teams to secure themselves high amount of kills and high amount of points moving into this game. And also another team that are going to be interested to look at getting themselves high points here in this third game is going to be the side of Rat Pack, who go down a little bit too soon, I think, for them in that second game, being wiped out by Gods of Greece. They're going to want to secure themselves the high kills as a duo. They did actually really well. They secured themselves the 5th position, secured themselves, I believe, 3 kills out of that first game. So they do secure themselves with their 5th position, with the 3 kills. They get themselves a juicy 10 points from that first game. Not as much, unfortunately, in game number 2, but they can still get themselves, as we say, any team can more points. You know, any team can still secure themselves the chicken dinner. Any team can secure themselves 2nd, 3rd place. It's all about the positioning, about the rotations, about their synergy as a team moving into Sandhawk. Sandhawk requires these teams to be very aware of the rotations of enemy teams, very aware of how they can rotate around the map, because with so many bushes, with so many trees, so many rocks around, they're going to have to be sure not to fall down to enemy flanks, enemy rotations behind them.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome back. You've disappeared.
Oh, no, I was just saying hi to my girl, getting some food.
Well, we've been having a party here. The replays.
Okay. So it's Sandhawk last match right now. A lot of chaos in the first couple of games. A lot of clips in the first couple of games. How will this go now? Lots of teams going straight down as well in this. That 2 to docks maybe. Nice little docks fight. Interesting. Oh, Rhymes vibe. Like they're kidding themselves. Slot.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's going to be a real bad mistake, unfortunately. Putting yourself in the wrong slot. We've seen it happen in previous scrims, and it's just one player down unnecessarily. Sort yourself out in due time in the slots. Get yourself in the positions that you need to.
Always just Discord as well, though, and communicate with your mates and where to go.
Exactly. That is very true. Discord is a very good option, and I think honestly, in terms of audio quality, I feel like Discord is better for that. But I think obviously teams choosing to use the in-game voice chat because you can hear the sound of the guns as well, which you can't if you use Discord as much.
Some people can't use Discord device. Some devices that they
devices blow up with a heat. Using both Discord and PUBG.
The northeast there, we got quite an interesting split drop that's actually doubled up. So everyone's doing Chinese style 1v1 right now. Kitten does go down and will be finished off by Brooks there early on in this game. Ket Venom does go down. This will be Ketamongo's taken out very early on again. That's two of them gone, I think. The Lord is knocked. Penetrate over there. Rasa Best punch out the Lord. Like Rhymes Vibes just drowned out there.
We unfortunately see someone go that way, but we are on the third game, and as I was saying to obviously, this can go any way for teams right now. Still, even the likes of the Rat Pack, who had themselves 10 points in game number 1, but didn't find himself a really good game number 2, can still secure himself the 20 kills, can secure himself the 20 points at the end of this third game. But so can the likes of AS, who are currently right now at 48 points on the board. I'm not sure how much Vision gained in the second game. I know they gained 36 in game number 1, so can't be too far behind with a mediocre game number 2. SAS here looking to try take down the side of Vision, but Vision have other thoughts on their mind.
Kind of good to see the 2 chicken dinner winners in one match right now.
It's going to eliminate one of them. It's going to remove any question of this scoreboard if one of these teams go down early on against the other, especially to the other giving himself the kills. But if the side of both these teams fall down early on, if one of these teams takes down one, moves into another squad and gets taken out themselves, then it opens the door, interestingly enough, to the rest of these teams who have been on the kind of middle ground of these playing fields. However, in boot camp, we see the side of actually one of these squads being wiped out, and ZPX getting himself a couple kills on the board, but the north eastern side could be a couple teams. We'll fight it out. We're going to have to keep himself on the small screen or on the kill feed here, Bigfoot, because we are on the big screen. We're looking at the action right now between these two giants of the night right now, SAS versus Vision.
Up in the northeast on the iPad, you can see Brooks moving in on Penetrate Misfits, so we'll try and watch both right now as VSN do pin SAS into Sami. It's quite an easy place to surround, to be honest, so Brooks also getting the knock on Vish there. Look like Vish is going to bleed out to Brooks. Rasa Best actually knocks Brooks just in time. Vish might just survive. Jump up there and catch that on both screens right now. Look, you can see Vish down here bleeding out slowly, but with Rasa Best getting the counter knock. The playing field was evened a little bit.
Gunners are going to have to be careful because they've not had too great of a first game. They've got themselves 5th position in game number 2, but with only so many kills accumulated from their side, and if they go down to Aria Blue, another team are going to try to secure themselves these points, but now Rasa tries to do damage against Aria Blue, manages to find a knockdown, half health, first them down. Aria Blue down to just one member here, but they have lost one member themselves. And the side of Rafali here, the only one alive for RAF Blue, perhaps going to be a little bit aggressive here with their teammate here on Brox there. Unfortunately, is going to go down. I do believe being knocked up so low. Rafali going down to half health though. Gonna have to be very careful.
Brooks gets the medkit back in. Rafali pulls back a little bit. I doubt they've got heaps of kit for this. Benji being the last one alive for Ketamongo, just hiding in the water as well. Going to wait this one out, not wanting to get involved until they have to. Maybe you're going to try and hope these teams move away. They can make their rotation. First, though, not going to damage them too much. But jumping back down to SAS, being surrounded by VSM, which we did leave behind.
Yeah, here
we can see Omon down. Willow and Killam have pushed all the way into Sami already.
Vision with a work here against SAS. A first down. Omon there, I do believe, almost going to go down. Surely Vision moving closer, trying to take down more members of SAS. They've pressed slowly up into SAS in this early game. These two leaders in the scoreboard right now up against each other. They get the knock. Vision with the important knock there. Now going to be able to secure the rest of these kills as they move in. SAS down first in this third game, and the leaders in the scoreboard out of game number 3.
Back up to penetrate now. Currently counting 2 kills. Maybe going to find Benji. I'm not sure. Benji is now out of the water, I guess. But what about Brooks and Raphael? They've made their moves a lot further forward. Benji's got hell all going for them right now. Look, level 1 helmet, level 1 backpack, making not a lot going for Benji right now. No armor on. Got a little bit of ammo. Maybe he'll be able to pull off the play of the century, though. It's definitely with the potential to pull off the play of the century. Maybe only carrying about 60 bullets, but going to have to keep moving. I guess that's the only real thing to do right now is just get away from penetrate, rotate round to another shack or 2, and get some armor and some bullets going for you. Move in with a zone. Hopefully penetrate. RAF Blue going to wipe each other out soon enough. But RAF, yeah, they are on the edge of the zone. Looks like they might even be waiting it out. I'm not sure.
It's going to be interesting to see how RAF Blue there. They unfortunately have lost 2 members here, but now we have the advantage outside of its zone as Penn inside the zone have to move up against the side of RAF Blue. They lose down 1 member here, and the tides have turned for the favor of RAF Blue. Now 2 members themselves to the side of Gunners. They're going to have to make an impressive move into the side of RAF or flank round and lose one of their members here. The zone still going to slowly chip away at Gunners and slowly chip away their health bar and deny the revive onto their teammate.
Yeah, smokes are coming in for Tabs, but the Blue Zone's going to eat Tabs alive, so it's just a waste of a smoke right now. I don't know if Murdoch's going to make it.
He can perhaps make it. It's going to be
seconds
very
too late.
close.
No,
so close. They do manage to get a revive in, barely, with no health left on Tab.
The clock is ticking, and it's going to be just the last little bit up there. Wow. Literally
Murdoch.
0.5 of a HP. That couldn't have been any closer. Another half second on Murdoch coming in for the rev, and Tab would be gone. So now they're sitting comfy with 3 players again. Looks like Rasa Best is already rotating around. Almost getting the knock on Raphael, but getting sprayed back with Raphael's quick fire there. And Rasa Best needs to take a second to heal up. Murdoch now pushing in up the hill a little bit. Giant gun thing will get rid of that. Oh, on the beach, there we are. Back to the graphics. Here we go. Murdoch with the Uzi, I think that was, and Rourke's now rotating around as well.
RAF, they're going to have to pull work here. We've lost their opportunity with the 2 versus 2. They're now up in a player disadvantage, but so low one of the side of Rasa there for Gunners here. Rasa perhaps trying out the Gunners, interesting enough. Not got that Gunners tag, got Dream Team tag. Dream Team not in this scrim. Gunners going to be perhaps scrimming for Rasa. Rasa's going to be wanting to put up the play of his life here. If he is trying to look to fill in for the Gunners roster. Rasa's so low though, and the rest of another knock goes down from RAF onto the side of Gunners here, and with say Rasa's so low, it's practically one of the half players here versus the side of the 2 on RAF. RAF Blue making that oppressive move up the hill, but the positioning now in favor for Gunners. The tide constantly switching here as this zone has been so long that this zone has began to move once again in phase number 2.
Yeah, so now penetrate pretty trapped in zone. Murdoch and Tabs are back up. Rasa Best, if they don't get on it straight away, will bleed out as Brooks and Raphael move to zone. As far as Brooks is concerned, there's 217 meters to go. Rasa Best will go out to play zone there. Murdoch now pushing in. Brooks finally goes down. Murdoch going to have to keep moving though and catch up with Raphael without being caught out. Or rotate all the way around Raphael, but the Murdoch's health is dropping. 1 med kit, 1 drink, 8 bandages. Being a little bit careful there, trying to get the first, but having a look at let's have a look at Raphael, what Raphael's doing. Are they keep moving, or are they turning around and keeping the angle on? Looks like Raphael's moving right now, wants to make it over that white line. If you look at Raphael's backpack in the bottom there, you can see there's actually no meds whatsoever. So this is actually the perfect time with Raphael on low health for Penetrate to catch up and deal some damage.
Yeah, and Raphael, they're now looting up. They now perhaps have the health kits that they need on board with the bandages, with the first aid kits. They look like they do have 5 on them right now. They're now going to be wanting to move in, though, towards this white zone, the play area. and secure himself perhaps a little bit of safety inside Paradise Resort could be an option for him.
Pretty good stuff here, though, as the zone moves in again. So currently covering 3 islands, now only covering 2. Still got Paradise and Boot Camp in. Penetrate came over there in a very good choke point compound by the Northwest Bridge. Raphael starting to get some more loot together. Hasn't taken the chance to heal up yet, even though they're carrying meds. I wonder when they're going to do that. Definitely way overdue time to heal up Raphael. Interesting to be running around on half health, and you know there's teams hot on your tail. Looking in the south, you can see Lionheart's pushing up the back of RPG, pushing up the back of Elf, pushing up the back of 12. Sorry, get that one.
DDUK.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have DDUK. Team that hasn't had a great performance tonight. They've not been with any star plays so far, but we still have one game to go. Half of this Sandhawk game to go, so still time to make those flashy moves, make those kills that DDUK are going to want to make. They got themselves an airdrop, which is a start of what they need to begin to do to kind of snowball these kills with the likes of these players running into the south end of this zone as well, into boot camp.
Yeah, a lot of teams in the southeast now. They're going to cross this threshold in a second. Gods of Greece almost there. Elves moving in as well. Not too far away from crossing over. RPG not too far away. Either Lionheart still behind them. VSN moving in by themselves as well. Incognito swimming across. Penetrate, are they going to... Might even see the swim in a second. Look at this. It looks like they might have seen the swim.
Yes, it's really risky right now because Game Over have the eyes on them and they know they're swimming right now. Spray coming into the water like ducks to the guns of Cons here. The bullet's going to be raining down onto the side of Incognito Blue, and they're going to be trying their best to swim across this water and get onto land because Cons has repositioned now. The final chance for Cons to try get these kills onto Incognito while they're vulnerable.
It looks like they've just missed the chance to catch this spray out. Oh, maybe still a little bit of a chance spraying down. Possible to get some more in. There's Cheetah. I think that was a headshot. Elsewhere, GOG Atlas does headshot Miss Venus down with the K9. We actually also saw, I think it was Mongo getting something. I'm not sure.
Atlas taking down Venus on the kill feed. Cons continuing to try rain down the bullets onto the Incognito roster here. Cons and the rest of Pen Game Over had a very disappointing game number 1, game number 2. Third-partied in both games by first ZPX, by then SAS. The Chicken Dinner winners of the Wrangle match. Moving into this third game, though, we're going to be sure as heck to make sure they're not going to be third parties. The positioning from Game Over much better in this game number 2. No team's going to be likely to flank around them. However, we do have the side of Silent Mercenaries struggling right now between 3 different teams, and they could be finding themselves third, even fourth parties.
It does look like Queen's the last one standing. Blondie bleeding out. Smoke's coming out, but you also have the entirety of Elves pushing in pretty aggressively, throwing tacticals.
The grenade there to try find it onto Blondie there. Queen still with about 2/3 HP, but very open to fire, down to about 1/3 HP, not behind that rock, only prone in the grass, interesting enough, and behind them comes the side of Animals Lines, who can hear these gunshots ahead of them. They also have Gods of Greece Tartarus here. Beside them, they also have the Elves. So the side of Mercenaries, they're not going to be able to get out of this one unless it can pull off the most miraculous play I've ever seen in PUBG, taking out 3 different teams with just one player. Queen, they're going to have a mammoth attack, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it. They need to retreat back. They need to try hard to survive later in this game and get the game points on the board for the Mercenaries.
Yeah, she's under a lot of pressure right now to take this team to victory. Luckily, though, it looks like the team surrounding might be a little bit distracted now, and might have a window of opportunity to start sneaking their way into the zone properly. Gods of Greece running this high ground there and actually finishing off Murdoch and Tabernac. That will be penetrating Misfits out of the match in 14th place there. Loads of shots over here. Elf Quan is down. Psalm's taking some shots. DMS Wolf sending shots up too. Lionheart has Matisu and Alpha down, knocking back on Sam. It's 2 knocks for 2 knocks, I think, but Matisu gets bled out there. There is only 2 standing for Lionhearts. Wolf on very low health. Duck also needs to Oh, and Duck gets taken down too. That was actually a headshot from below in RPG. A lot of chaos in this zone as the teams try and move in across the threshold.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate to see these teams being caught out, a little bit of mispositioning, being too late to rotate into the zone, and you see how quickly teams can turn against you. Multiple teams turn against you here on the high ground moving into zone. The side of Sandhawk, well known, as we've seen last week, with a brutal Painan, a hill combo to wipe out 20 players in about a minute. With Sandhawk known for closing in the border around these raised areas of the map, and teams camping them out, taking these kills on board for them, as we see very well the side of the Elves pulling out the kills they need to so far. But they have 2 people knocked. They have to be careful that they don't get third-partied by either of these teams being aggressive, noticing the Elves only have 2 members up. The smokes also going to be playing a little bit of an important role here for Lionhearts. But they are going to run out of smokes eventually, and that's when the grenades are going to most likely land when they're their most vulnerable.
Gods of Greece putting so much pressure on Elves now, and now the shots are coming in from behind from AMZ. There's almost nothing they can do. So many different angles. Argos does take out Psycho there. 1 more shot into Wolf, and that will be Lionheart's gone too. Gods of Greece really just like keeping their health together, considering they're right on the edge here, fighting so many different squads. I do see Perseus go down as I say that, but Argus is right in there with the Rev. Looks like these teams are getting straight on the Revs tonight, something we've wanted to see more of. Either doing it straight away or not at all, and doing something else more important. And AMZ here going to cause such a drama for any team trying to come in this south side. Diablo's even pushing out to run the west side too. This is very greedy positioning on this zone, but they might even get away with it. Look at this. Diablo overextended to cover a whole different angle as ZBX take down Devious inside boot camp.
We saw Murdoch do it for the side of Gunners in game number 2, and unfortunately it didn't work out for Gunners. But here comes game over inside the zone, trying to take down the members of ZPX, I do believe here. They're trying to go for this revenge against the team that took them out in game number 1, second to fall in game number 1, exactly what they wanted to be. So they've got to feel good. Menace doing the work here with the med kit. It's going to be close, still 3 seconds. This zone barely going to knock from it. It's not going to come through. Menace will fall, and unfortunately the play zone itself a menace tonight, as the side of Paint Game were wiped out by the play zone, taking another 2 victims.
I'd like to point out Ketamungo's the first team to be taken out, but we do see one Ketamungo member still standing, surviving up to 5th place so far. Maybe going to be able to push it a bit further. Argus about to bleed out. Damage from the play zone, disabling Argus, making it to safety in time for a Rev. Atlas and Kratos still alive, but AMZ, like we said, causing trouble from this compound. And Diablo went out to the west to pin the other teams and is still alive right now. That pin now coming in effective. Diablo wipes out RPG there. Mad CD managing to get the heals in actually just before the last bullet. Can Diablo continue this pin, or will they move back to the rest of the squad right now? There's Mad CD trying to spray down on the rest of AMZ. But taken down there by Matas.
Taken down, as we say, by Matas there. On the side of Gods of Greece having the game that they need to so far. But now comes the side of the Animals Lions squad here, or should I say duo, is it reduced down to 1? Maybe I should just say Atlas is a single member, because they're falling as I speak here. Atlas going to now fall most likely as well. Barely takes down Mattis, so the red zone going to eat him up though, perhaps. Has to get this med kit in on time. The victim, and then on the play zone being brutal tonight. Phase 6 play zone We still have Kenamingos alive, though, all the way to second place. And the side of Benji is going to have to pull off this 1 versus 3 because it's going to be so important for the side of Kenamingos if they can get this chicken dinner. An extra 6 points would be such a big deal for a team that has had not too great of a game number 1, not too great of a game number 2. Benji, can they pull off this 1 versus 3 against S02W02 Greece? This play zone gonna move in about 30 seconds here.
Get out down the play zone there. See you later, Yagami Laito-kun. Let's go back into zone right now as Diablo and Hazi are going to face Ket Benji. Ket Benji, the first player to lose the rest of their squad, pushed it into second place right now. Will we see the upset of the night with Benji coming out in chicken dinner?
2 players.
Venom and Kitten were the first 2 players to go down, I think. Giant gun there for a hot second.
Yeah, we see Benji now has to make that 1 versus 2. The play zone taking him down to 2 members here for the side of Gods of Greece. The phase 7 play zone gonna move in onto this, and now comes Benji having to force a movement as Gods of Greece have the center of this zone, makes their way into the second rock here, but it's going to continue to still eat up Benji. The play zone relentless here as it moves closer in, and Benji might just be taken out by the play zone if they don't make a decision here to go up against Gods of Greece. They're so low. Surviving is not going to work with the first aid kits, Benji. You've got to make a movement here because Gods of Greece, Benji's going to make 1 versus 1 here. If you have to down to 1 member, Benji has to make it into the play zone. Not going to manage it. The play zone takes him down. And Gods of Greece secure himself out for a chicken dinner.
AMZ, you mean?
Oh, AMZ, should I say?
Yeah. Gods of Greece died earlier on, eh? Yeah, in 3rd place. Gods of Greece, they had 8, but in 1st place we do see AMZ with 7 on top, and Benji is so impressive. Kitten and Venom going out, but Benji taking it to 2nd place with 2 kills.
I mean, excellent work from the side of Kenamingos there. They've allowed themselves with those 2 kills. They tried to get that extra point on the board against the side of AMZ in that final head-to-head, but unfortunately not able to quite find it. And an excellent job to not just Kenamingos, but even if we remember all the way back to the first game, the side of RPG, the Rat Pack duo there, managing to get to 5th position in the first game. So tonight has been more about these teams surviving than the flashy kills, the flashy 20 kills that we saw from SAS in that second game. SAS notably taken out first in this final game is going to knock them immediately back down on that leaderboard in behind so many other teams. Where did the side of Vision fall though? That's what I want to know.
Oh, they didn't do amazing, but they didn't do terrible. Where was it? After starting off the game, pitting
6th position will do fine for
SAS
them.
in Sawami, and they ended up on top with 9 kills in 6th place, so not too bad, especially considering they knocked out SAS in 16th with no kills. Vision coming in here and taking out the teams they need to upset the leaderboard.
Yeah, Vision did exactly what they needed to. They secure themselves, that 9 kills to 6th place. And with that 6th place, they're going to secure themselves those 6 points. So 15 more points going towards the side of Vision. On top of the 36 they gained in game number 1, it's going to be 46 to 51 points in total there between those 2 games. We're going to have to keep a lookout on what their total was in that second game. I don't quite have the numbers for that, but the 51 points are going to be enough to top SAS from game number 1, game number 2, and also game number 3, with SAS not finding a single kill, not finding themselves a single point in that final game, allows Vision to top them on the leaderboard. So unless someone's got more than 51 points, Vision are going to be first on that leaderboard tonight.
GG's everybody. Thank you to everyone for taking part tonight. Cheers for Penetrate for hosting. Really good plays from everyone. A lot of good clips. And a lot of interesting scores. We're going to see this leaderboard develop over the next few weeks in this RP season. And we'll have a real big grasp of who's in the lead in maybe another 3-4 weeks. I'll really have a focus on the leaderboard more then as time moves on. Because the first couple it starts to be a little bit uneven, and as time goes on, the spread of teams gets a bit more understandable and even, and we can really understand who is leading the game.
Yeah, definitely have to agree there. I mean, at the end of the second night, we still don't have really much of a clue who's on the top of the leaderboard, because it was just completely tipped on its head from last week's games. I mean, Fallen Angels weren't even here, despite being registered, unfortunately, for these night's games, which is so unfortunate considering we had a phenomenal first night in the league, in topping the league in week 1, but they're going to have to hopefully attend week 3 and get those points back online, because now that the scoreboard is evened up, they've lost their lead from week 1. They're going to have to bring it back. So are SAS. So SAS, another team that, despite their amazing second game, despite themselves getting 48 points, just shy of 50 in these 3 games tonight, they're going to have to pull out even more amazing games, because we were disappointing day 1, a disappointing in day 2 between games 1 and 3, and only a good game 2. They're gonna need to pull out a lot more kills, a lot more game points to secure yourself the top point of that leaderboard, the top areas, the top 3, kind of between Fallen Angels, SES, between Vision, who are now all in contention for the top spot at the end of the league so far.
I'm going to get off and get some late night dinner. It's a bit late to be dinner, I guess. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm going to go get that done. I'm happy to leave these replays rolling through for a little bit. I'll leave the music on in the background. On tuning in, can just check out what's been happening about the other games. This will run through all 3 games. But yeah, thanks a lot for being with us, and cheers to Highland Wolf for the co-commentary. See you next Sunday night, alongside throughout the week for plenty of other scrims.
You're very welcome. Catch you guys next week, where we start off with tomorrow. What is it? Zenith scrim. So
yeah, it'll be tomorrow's Zenith Pro EU and the Death Race.
Yeah, going to be exciting stuff. So tune in 7 p.m. GM and BST, should I say, 8 p.m. CEST tomorrow night for those Zenith games.
Good night.